I'm Anil Kumar sharing with you a question on linear system. Here we'll relate distance, speed and time. The question is, Anil drove from Toronto at 80 kilometers per hour. Peter left Toronto 1 hour later and drove along the same road at 100 kilometers per hour. How far from Toronto did Peter overtake Anil? So that's the question. So let us see how to solve this kind of equation. Whenever you have distance, time, speed equations, I'll recommend that you make a triangle first, relating distance, speed and time, right? So this triangle always helps. So we have distance is speed into time. That is one thing. Second thing which we need is a kind of a table which relates all these things, right? So the table here is, there are two persons driving and all the information is given in the form of distance, speed and time, right? So the two persons driving are Anil and Peter. So we make a table with including the information given to us, right? So let's write down the names. So let's say this is for Anil and that is for Peter. It says Anil drove from Toronto at 80 kilometers per hour. So that is the speed, right? So we can write this as speed in kilometers per hour. Kilometers per hour. And how much is that? 80 kilometers per hour. So it is 80. Peter left Toronto 1 hour later and drove along the same road 100 kilometers per hour. So it is 100 kilometers per hour. Now it also says that Peter left Toronto 1 hour later, right? So the time is in hours. So Peter has taken 1 hour less to reach the same place, right? Because Peter leaves that hour later. Do you get the point? So if Anil drives for time t, then Peter drives for t minus 1. Now let's look into the later half, which is how far from Toronto did Peter overtake Anil? Now that distance is same for both, right? So the idea here is that if Anil drove some distance, let's say Anil starts from here and is driving. Now in that case, let's say at this point, Peter overtakes. So by the time Peter starts, Anil is already far ahead, right? So when Peter starts, Anil is already ahead. So at this point, let us say Peter overtakes. The distance covered by both are same, right? So the distance covered is both the same. That is very important to understand, right? However, time taken by Peter is 1 hour lesser. So how to define time? Either you can say Peter drove for time t, Anil drove for t plus 1. That could be possible. Or if you say Anil drove for time t, Peter will drive for t minus 1. So either way you could work. So let's say Anil drove for t hours. Since Peter drove after an hour, Peter took 1 hour less to reach that place. Does make sense, right? Now let's write down the distance both of them traveled in this time. Distance traveled is 80 times t, right? Distance, speed into time. So it is 80t. And here the distance is 100 times t minus 1. Do you get an idea? Now since we are saying how far from Toronto did Peter overtake Anil, that means same distance, right? So same distance traveled will be 80t equals to 100 t minus 1. Does it make sense? Same distance means both distances are same. At what time will both distances will be same? Time t, right? So let's figure this out now. So let's find the value of t, solving this equation. So we have 80t equals to 100t minus 100. Bringing 100 to this side, 80 to the other side, that is rearranging the equation. We get 20t equals to 100, or t equals to 100 divided by 20, which is 5 hours. So after 5 hours, Peter overtook Anil. That means Peter drove for 4 hours, right? Anil drove for 5 hours. So the distance is how much? Distance could be 80 times t or 100 times t minus 1. Both will give you the same results. Let's do 80 times 5. So 80 is the speed, which is kilometers per hour. And time is 5 hours, right? So when you multiply, you get only kilometers, which is expected, and 5 times 80 is 400. So the answer is after 400 kilometers, right? Peter overtake Anil. Right? So it took Peter how much time to drive? 4 hours in this case, right? 1 less than 5. I'm Anil Kumar, and I hope that helps. Thank you, and all the best.